Good evening, boys and girls. This is Mr. Jackson with this week's edition of Tuesday Tales. This month, the month of March, is Women's History Month. And so this month, I will be sharing books about amazing women. And so tonight, I had the opportunity to share a book about a woman named Sacajawea. And Sacajawea was a Native American woman who was instrumental in our country's early beginning. And so the title of this book is I Am Sacajawea, I Am York, Our Journey West with Lewis and Clark. And the book is by Claire Rudolph Murphy, and it's illustrated by Higgins Bond. All right, let's read. They call me Sacajawea, bird woman, but my parents named me Sacajawea, one who carries a burden. And that Hidatsa of the Great Plains took me far away with my Lemma people when I was only a girl of the 12 snows. I worked in their fields until they sold me to the Charbonneau, a French-Canadian trader who lived in their village. Now, in the time of the falling leaves, a baby stirs inside me as I watch a huge boat approach. Many men with their faces paler than ashes, one with skin like brown soil, and a dog as big as a baby buffalo lands on our shores. So what Sacajawea just says that when she was pregnant, some men showed up to her homeland. They call me York, and after my pappy old York and the York River. On a plantation in Kentucky, Captain Clark and I used to play in the fields and go fishing. And my 12th summer, master moved me into a big house and gave me to his son. I've been by Captain's side ever since on a long journey west to find a route to the Pacific Ocean. I am the only black man. The children chased the old man called York and try to rub off his earth-colored skin. All the people clap when the fiddles play, and he kicks and twirls round the campfire. I have never seen such a man as this, but I'm glad that he and his dog called Seaman will stay the winter. One bold, calm day, Charbonneau brings his Indian wife to our fort. Captain Lewis asks for her. Will you help us buy horses from your Shoshone people? We need them to cross the Rocky Mountains. Sacajawea looks down at her swelling belly, worry on her face. Charbonneau grunts and shakes her shoulders. She nods. She will come with us. My son was born when the snows were still high. Charbonneau calls him Jean-Baptiste. I call him Pompey, the Shoshone word for hair, since he has so much of it. When the green leaves bud and the big river Missouri flows free, we depart in the white chief's canoe. I am the only woman, Pompey the only child, and this journey as we travel, York swats the mosquitoes away and sings my son to sleep. Sacajawea is a smart woman. She collects perry turnips and wild onions to cook with the game we had hunted. Charbonneau is a cowardly man. One day a strong gust of wind blows. Charbonneau panics and almost tips over Captain's boat. Quicker than 10 men, Sacajawea leans over the side of the boat and snatches supplies and the captain's journal out of the swirling water. As we travel the river, coyote, elk, bighorn sheep, and thousands of buffalo travel the land. My people would never hunger with this plentiful food. When darkness falls, we sleep while Seaman stands watch for the fearsome grizzly bears. One evening, Seaman's barking pierces the air when a large buffalo bull thunders into the camp. York and the soldiers mount their guns, and Pompey and I bury up like rabbits. Good fortune, Seaman heads to the bulls, to the rivers, and save us all. For days we carry big loads around the 5 roaring falls, 17 miles of back-breaking work. Finally, we return the boats to the waters of the Missouri. We pole up the river day after day. Every morning, Captain Lewis asks, "Where are your people, Sacajawea?" She only shakes her head. One day we approach an Indian camp and Sacajawea cries, "Ahee, ahee!" When she hears the chief's voice, she runs to him. They cling together like a tobacco leaf to its stalk. Sacajawea has found her family. I miss mine back home. My brother, Camawait, still lives and he is chief's. I call out, "Brother, I am Sacajawea, your sister." I finally stop crying and ask my brother if he will sell horses to the captains. "Sister, we need guns to hunt the buffalo," he tells me, "but the captains have no guns to trade." My brother sells them 26 horses and one mule. Anyway, then tells us no river through the shining mountains, but on the other side is a big river that leads to the stinking water. Sacagawea belongs to Charbonneau, like I belong to Captain. She and Pompey traveled to us to the mountains through the rain, hail, and snow. I long for the warm breezes and rolling hills of Kentucky. But Sacagawea does not complain, and Pompey barely whimpers. We cannot find game and grow so hungry that Captain commands us to shoot one of the colts. Sacagawea refuses to eat the horse meat. She and Pompey survive only on the roots and the berries she dig up. Finally, we descend out of the shining mountains. My milk for Pompey is thin, and my legs so weak. The Nez Perce people greet us with guns, but when they see me with my son, they know we bring peace. Still, they circle around Yark yelling, "Burnt man, burnt man." They pet him like a dog. They do not know yet that under his dark skin, his heart beats like ours. The Indians feed us camas root and salmon, chinook with rosy pink flesh. I eat until my stomach almost bursts. After we rest, the Nez Perce show us how to dig out canoes from huge ponderosa pine trees. Chief Twisted Hair draws a map on white elk skin, naming the Clearwater, Snake, and Columbia rivers we must travel before we reach the ocean. The salmon are so thick we cannot dip an oar in the river without striking a silvery back. Along the shores, many different tribes live. They fish with nets and celebrate their catches with song and drum. The sun shines down until we reach treacherous rapids, one after another. We must survive so we can reach the big water that never ends. All right, that's the ocean, boys and girls. Day and night, the rain pours down. Finally, we reach the Pacific Ocean. Hallelujah, Captain Lewis asks each soldier and Charbonneau where to build our winter fort. He records the votes in his book. Then my captain taps my shoulder. He wants me, a slave, to vote. My heart thumps. He points to Sacagawea too. I smile at her. I am Yark. She is Sacagawea. For this moment, we are free. Afterward. The incidents in this story all come from the recorded details in the Lewis and Clark journals. They vote to decide the location of the winter camp in the first record of an African American man, that is York, and a Native American woman, that is Sacagawea, who are allowed to participate in the vote. It took place 60 years before the slaves were freed and more than 100 years before Indians or women were given the right to vote. The expedition's return, starting on March 1806, was equally challenging. On August 14, 1806, they arrived at Fort Mandan in North Dakota, where Sacagawea, Charbonneau, and Pompey left the expedition. Charbonneau was paid $500 for his service, and Sacagawea received nothing. All right. So, boys and girls, this book was about Sacajawea and York. Okay. So, I have a few questions, of course. So, what was the name or the two names of Sacagawea's son? Okay. So, you can put that in the comments. All right. The Sacajawea, her son. Next question. What was the name of York's dog? Right? And the last question, where was York from? Where was York from? Okay. So the first person to answer these three questions in the comments, I have something special for you in the morning. Okay. Thank you, boys and girls. This concludes our Tuesday Tale for this evening. Have a great evening.